There's a lot of mystery around Freyr's disappearance. After we liberate the light of Alfheim, we can find a scroll written from the perspective of the Light Elves, which reads, "The light is ours again, but there is no time to lose. Only the return of Lord Freyr can secure peace. Surely we are liberated by the forces sent forth at his command, like the Sword of Legend. But Freyr himself remains lost, and now we must come to his aid. Some believe he has returned to Vanaheim, while others believe he is held in Asgard. Both paths are now found shut. With the temple secure, all elfkind is called away to seek our lost lord." The scroll hints on Freyr's possible location, either Vanaheim or Asgard, but Asgard seems unlikely to me for the following reasons. If Freyr was captured, the Vanir would be furious and attack the Aesir, as he is arguably the second most important deity, or first considering the Vanir hate Freya now. That being said, the game doesn't give us anything which would justify Freyr leaving for even Vanaheim, apart from the fact he is a Vanir god. It wasn't until I started my third playthrough that I noticed a small but mysterious detail about Tyr's temple. When Kratos and Atreus arrived at Tyr's temple for the first time, I noticed the bridge was aligned to Vanaheim, meaning someone either travelled to Vanaheim or arrived from Vanaheim before the temple became submerged underwater. I want everyone watching right now to think of who's the most likely to have travelled to Vanaheim. I'm guessing a lot of you thought Freya, and so did I initially, until I looked at the timeline. In order for my theory to make sense, we need to recap some of the timeline, which Lore and Legends provides. 140 years ago, Tyr's temple was flooded, the last location being Vanaheim, either travelled to or from. The official art book says Odin sent Aesir gods and monsters to attack Tyr's temple, which led to its flooding. However, I will make a video addressing what truly happened. As a result of the temple being submerged, no one is able to use Tyr's temple for 140 years. With Tyr's temple inactive, the bridges are rendered useless, meaning people cannot travel from other realms too. 140 years or so after, Kratos and Atreus are the next ones to use it. Now back onto why Freya was not the last one to use the temple. Freya tried to return to Vanaheim 15 years after the temple had flooded, meaning she would have known of the temple being underwater, but also she doesn't need the temple to realm travel. I recommend watching my theory titled Odin Will Steal Mimir, which explains in detail how realm travel works differently for some than it does for Kratos and Atreus. She also couldn't have been the last user of the temple, as she was in Asgard then and on reasonable terms with Odin. Freya would have had no reason to return to Vanaheim, not to mention the Vanir, her own kind, hate her due to a misunderstanding. Some may suggest, what if it was Tyr? After all, it was his temple and he used it to travel between realms. To be honest, he could have, it's completely possible, but from what the story tells us so far, Tyr had no reason to have gone to Vanaheim, apart from when the temple was being constructed, where he included all the races to build it. Which leads us to why I believe it is Freyr. When Freya got married 150 years ago, she was the leader of Vanaheim. After her marriage, she had to live in Asgard with Odin, meaning Vanaheim would be without a leader. If we assume Freyr had to leave for Vanaheim for this reason, around the same time the temple was submerged, that would mean Vanaheim was without a leader for at least 10 years. A lot could have happened in 10 years to Vanaheim. Just take our journey as an example, which lasted roughly a year. I know there are theories that Freya's boar, Hildisvíni, is Freyr trapped in a boar's body, but I believe this to be unlikely. Here's why. In Norse mythology, Hildisvíni is Freya's boar, while Gullinbursti is Freyr's boar. Meaning even if the boar we met was called Gullinbursti, it wouldn't still mean the boar was Freyr, but I understand it would be easier to believe. This is because boars are their companions and not another form they can manifest into. For example, Freya's boar in traditional Norse myth was actually Ottar, her advisor. What I am unsure of is if Freya had mastered the Bifrost and therefore didn't need Tyr's temple to realm travel, it wouldn't be a stretch to assume Freyr had this exact same ability too. After all, they are siblings. But then again, this ability may be native to the Aesir, as Odin created the Valkyries that are masters of the Bifrost. There is no indication the Vanir have the same ability, but I completely understand the Vanir are more proficient in magic than the Aesir are. With that being said, out of all the three candidates, it still makes the most sense for Freyr to have been the last person to use Tyr's temple before our arrival. But let me know in the comments who you believe it was, or was it someone else entirely that I did not mention. Please consider liking and subscribing, that would help me a lot. Thank you to everyone who has supported me to reach 400 subscribers. I'm beyond grateful and can't wait to make more content. Take care.